So we're driving to PRI right now, up in Indianapolis. My wife is behind the camera there. I have recently recruited her to do the video work for me, so hopefully we can get some content out to you guys on a more regular basis. I have plenty of time to talk, but I rarely have the time that it takes to sit down and set up to make a video, shoot a video, edit a video, and post it. And that is something that I am basically bringing my wife on to do. She's probably going to start doing some other stuff in the shop. She's been shipping some stuff lately. So kind of transitioning from a one-man band to a family-owned business, I guess you could call it. So today we're heading to the Performance Racing Industry Show in Indianapolis. If you don't know what that is is that thing still on?
Yeah.
Okay. The screen went black on it, so I don't know. I'm new to the GoPro thing, so I'm learning. Hopefully she can do the learning for me. So the performance racing industry is basically a trade show for anybody who is a manufacturer, a racer, anybody that's involved in the industry. It's kind of a private trade show. So we are going to get you guys some footage of some stuff that I think is cool, some stuff I think that you guys would like, and we'll try to find some stuff that would apply directly to diesel drag racing, and talk about some stuff that will cross over between normal drag racing and diesel drag racing. The big thing I always try to do is not get so focused on the fact that we're racing diesels and just say that we're drag racing. So I will look at what other race cars are doing with chassis setups, how easy it is to maintenance the car. That's a big thing that I look at a lot, is what kind of features are they putting on these cars to make them easier to maintenance, easier to pull trannies and motors and stuff like that. So a place like this, there's a ton of really top-notch cars on hand up here, and it's a good place to brainstorm and get some ideas. There's a lot of parts that they'll debut for this next upcoming season. Manufacturers will bring in their new stuff to release, so maybe we'll find some cool new stuff to show you guys that hasn't actually hit the shelves yet, and we'll just we'll see what kind of neat stuff that we can bring you guys. So this is Miss Misery, owned by Bobby Dodrell. This is the fastest four-wheel drive truck in the world. It's been 391, I do believe. Come here, let me have this. It's got a Liberty transmission in it. I don't know if it's a 5 or 6 speed, but it's got a Bruno drive and or it could be a quick drive. I can't remember off the top of my head, but and a Suncoast lockup converter. Super fancy transmission setup. Me being a transmission guy, this is the kind of stuff that I like. You know, super minimalistic, lightweight, carbon fiber, everything. It's the lightest four-wheel drive truck to my knowledge as well. And you know, it's black, so of course I'm a fan of black. C10, just a cool truck. It's pretty much the OG of the four-wheel drive racing stuff. So he used to have a 9-inch front end under it. Looks like now he's gone to a Dana 44. But everything's super small on it, super lightweight. Blower motor, pretty crazy piece. Alright, so we're here at Extreme Racing Oil's booth. Extreme Racing Oil is the transmission fluid that I run. They make racing engine oil that I run in the Fossil and in JP's truck. Stock both of those things, run their fleet diesel oil and all my stuff. They make a really awesome product. Extreme is owned by Larry Jeffers Race Cars, and that's who manufactures the oil. So it is a racing oil made for racers by racers. In my opinion, it is really the best stuff there is out there, and Larry Jeffers built some really awesome stuff. I want to show them that car. So it's not too often at PRI that you get to see a car that was in a really bad crash, and it's something I wanted to take a minute to show you guys to put the importance on safety equipment in your cars. We'll do a walk around and show you how bad of a crash this was for Jeff Lutz. And the driver's compartment of this car is perfectly fine. There's nothing that broke or failed. And you can see where the steering wheel's bent over, where it was a very violent crash, and it's just a testament to spending the money on the safety features, because it really can save your life. Pushed in, the inside there, the main hoops kicked over a little bit. Down bar on this side is crinkled. It's a pretty hard hit. Let's come over to the driver's compartment here. Everything did its job like it should. See the steering wheel, how bent over it is. But nothing failed. Definitely a testament that Let's Build a good car. Alright, so we're back in the shop. 2021 PRI recap. Gotta be a little honest with you guys. This year I wasn't too super impressed with it. PRI is usually something I really look forward to see the new products that are coming out. Generally the vendors will be there and they will put out what is new for the upcoming season, and there just wasn't much of that this year. Granted, PRI is so big, it's really hard to see it all in a couple days, especially when you're planning out visits with other people. It's a great time to get together and meet with a lot of your customers and your dealers and your manufacturers. So it's hard to juggle everything that you want to do, but I try to get through as much of the show as physically possible. I try to avoid some of the areas where I know I'm not going to really be interested in much stuff, like the dirt track stuff and some of the high-end machining and whatnot. But I feel like for the most part I get through the majority of the show. And this year, I just didn't feel like there was much new stuff. It seemed like a repeat of 2019. I don't know if I was just, my expectations were higher because of not having PRI in 2020. But when I was driving home, I was really thinking about it. And I was just thinking about my business and how it relates to, what I was seeing there. And really, I think COVID has a lot to do with it because of the supply chain backup that we have all been dealing with the last 2 years almost now. There wasn't really the option for a lot of these manufacturers to focus on new part development. It was so hard to get raw material to start with that these places really had to focus on just keeping up with what they were trying to already sell. And I just don't think that guys had the opportunity to come up with a lot of new parts moving into the 2022 season. Some guys did come out with some new stuff. I seen that Hartz came out with a centrifugal style supercharger, like a Pro Charger, and I thought that was pretty cool. Hartz is actually kind of interesting to me because Hartz started off as, and they still do all this, but a diesel company. They made pumps, injectors, turbos, all high-end stuff for a lot of high-end truck and tractor pulling. And around 2015-16, and I'd like to know that how this relationship got started exactly, but from the outside looking in, the no prep guys, the no prep stuff was really getting big, and at that time, no prep had a weight break for anybody running a single turbocharger. So I don't know if the no prep guys reached out to Hartz or if Hartz started reaching out to no prep guys, but somehow the two got hooked up, and some of these no prep turbo guys started going to big single Hartz turbos, 115, 120, 130 millimeter turbos that would move the same air as a pair of twin 88s, twin 94s, but they'd get the weight break. And that's when I first seen Hartz get into the normal race world. And then over the past couple years here, very recently actually, they've really made a push in the radial tire racing. I really see it a lot. There are a lot of turbos in Pro 275, X 275, Radial versus the World. They actually have a X 275 specific turbo. They have some GT55 style turbos now. So it's pretty cool to see a company that was a diesel company actually getting into high level drag racing. That's pretty neat. Aside from that though, really I didn't see a lot of stuff. Like I was really hoping to capture a lot of neat things and show you guys. I always try to, I'm not a big pro mod fan, but I pay attention to pro mods. I'm a steel roof and quarter kind of guy when it comes to race car stuff, but Pro Mod evolved from that, and the one thing I always am looking at on Pro Mods is serviceability. What are they doing when they build the chassis and they build all the fab stuff to make these cars easier to work on and to service? And I'm always trying to pull ideas from that to use in diesel racing and just racing in general. And so I always try to look at the Pro Mod stuff, and there's a couple cars there. The NHRA Pro Mod Championship car was there. I looked it over pretty hard, and I just didn't see anything that I felt like correlated enough to what we're doing with the diesel stuff to really highlight it or talk about it. I went to the Extreme brand booth. That's the oil that I stock and run, and they had a couple cool cars there. I checked out those cars. That Gucci Nova was just over the top. It had all the way down to anodized spindles, and it was crazy the amount of detail that was in that car. And that's really not my thing. I like a race car that's clean, well thought out, but not over the top. I'm a simple is better kind of guy, so the over the top stuff is just a little bit too extravagant for me, but definitely cool piece to see. You don't normally see very much wrecked or crashed stuff at PRI. It's usually just all really nice stuff. So it was pretty interesting to see Jeff Lutz's original 57 car that he crashed on the street. And I kind of liked seeing that there, as sad as it looks, because it's a testament to the safety that goes into building a race car and why safety is so important. That car was pretty tore up. It was in a pretty bad crash, and the driver's area of that car was perfect. Nothing at all failed in it, and we got some video shots of that because I really wanted to show you guys how important building safety into your race car, race truck is. And you know, there was a couple things there that, you know, I thought were interesting, but like I said, just didn't correlate enough for me to highlight to you, you know, and show you guys. Bobby Dodrell's four-wheel drive truck is neat. It's kind of a unicorn. It's, you know, it's the fastest one by a lot, the fastest four-wheel drive. He's kind of doing things different. He's doing his own thing. He's got a Liberty 5-speed or 6-speed transmission in those things. Those Liberty transmissions are pretty cool because of the gear ratios. You're able to stack your gear ratios really close together. And so what that allows you to do is keep your engine RPM drops really small going down the track. So if you've got an engine that makes peak power, say in his combo, say it's 8,000 RPM, and you only have like 200 or 300 RPM drops, you're able to keep the engine RPM really close to peak power throughout the entire track. And that's why you'll start to see, if you pay attention to a lot of the high-end race car stuff, a lot of those guys have 5, 6, 7 speed Liberty style transmissions in them, so they can keep the RPMs up really high. The other thing too with the ProCharge stuff, or centrifugal in general stuff, is they don't like big RPM drops. It's hard on the crank. It's hard on the gear drives on those things, and they'll break. There's a couple guys running Turbo 400 3-speed stuff really successfully with that, but it seems like a lot of guys are figuring out that 5, 6, 7 speed stuff is kind of the way to cut down on hurting parts. Same with the blower stuff, the screw and roots blowers. They want to throw belts off if they have real big RPM drops. So I'm a transmission guy, so I'm kind of like a nerd about that stuff. So I think that stuff is pretty neat. So threw a couple clips of that in there, but I don't want to sound like I'm getting down on PRI, because I'm certainly not. My expectations were probably just too high. It was really bummer to not have it in 2020. I'm super thankful that they did it in 2021, and I was really worried about virtual trade shows being the new normal, and I'm just glad that everybody's getting back together. The booth space was down, the booth count. There was definitely a lot of void areas that didn't used to be, which that was a little bit of a bummer to see, but I'm just glad that they had the event. And if you ever get the opportunity to go and you're into the racing stuff, you gotta go. It's the who's who's, you know, it ain't nothing to be walking through there and see, you know, the Street Outlaw guys, to see top NHRA guys, Eric Enders, you know, I'm sure John Force was even there walking around somewhere, you know, Stevie Fast. Like, the who's who's of drag racing are there on site. So you gotta go. I'll be back next year. This is by no means a rag. I'm just a little disappointed that I couldn't bring more content to you guys like I was hoping for. But either way, you know, we hit a couple of the neat things, and that's about it for this one, man. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel with all your friends. We're ramping back up into the videos now, and we're hoping to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark and just keep this thing going. So appreciate you guys.